محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وخاتم النبيين سيدنا ونبينا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب قلوبنا بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الغر الميامين المعصومين من يومنا هذا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وخطابه المتين، وهو أصدق القائلين وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني. صلوات. This ayah that we have been mentioning in the beginning of the lecture for the past 6 days or 5 days highlights the importance of basira. Basira translated as spiritual insight. It is the light of the heart that helps you identify truth from falsehood, haq from batil in times of confusion and doubt. This is what basira means. And in every journey that you undertake, especially the spiritual journey, there will be times, even in the physical journey that one undertakes, there are times when the physical signs of guidance are obscured, when the signboards are missing, or it's a stormy night or a cloudy night, or the darkness of the night is not letting you see the path. In those difficult and trial times, if you have a compass with you, if you have a GPS with you, you will not lose the way. In your spiritual journey, similarly, there will be times when the scene becomes obscured, when the scene will be such that it will be difficult to take a decision. It will be difficult to identify truth from falsehood. The signs will become obscured. But if you have that basira, that spiritual insight with you, if you have the light of the heart within you, then that will guide you to your destination. You will not be a prey to shaitan. When shaitan was thrown out of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he turned back to Allah and said, La ughwayannahum ajma'in. I am going to hijack all of them. I'm going to deceive and make them go astray. All of them, ajma'in. Illa ibadaka minhumul mukhlasin. Except those of your men who are mukhlas. The word used here is mukhlas, not mukhlis. These are two different words. Muallim means the teacher, and muallam with a fatha on lam means the one who is being taught. Muallim is the teacher, and muallam is the one who is being taught. Mukhlis is the one who purifies In one context, it would refer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He purifies our souls through our actions, through our good deeds. And mukhlas is one who is being purified. And in certain contexts, those people who have been purified by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So shaitan in this verse is saying, I'm going to deceive all of them. Illa ibadaka minhumul mukhlasin. Except those of your pure ones, those of the purified of your servants. A testimony by shaitan that I will not be able to deceive them. It is precisely those mukhlasin that we should be looking for through our basira. Who are those purified ones, those sincere ones, whom even shaitan cannot deceive. And if you find them, they will be your compass. If you hold on to them and if you follow them, then no matter what happens, you will not be deceived. In other words, shaitan in this verse is saying that there certainly are some infallible ones whom I will not be able to deceive. कुछ लोगों की इस्मत की गवाही खुद शैतान दे रहा है. That there are people whom I will not be able to deceive. And when he was thrown out of the mercy of Allah, he turned to Allah and asked for powers. And Allah gave him the powers. And Allah said to him, go and deceive whoever you want to through your infantry and cavalry and other tools that I have given you. Go and do that. So you have been given the powers by Allah to do that. But then we find those who were blessed with those basira, those who were the mukhlasin. And prime amongst them is Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. Salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Saying in Nahjul Balagha, he says, Allah wa inna shaitan qad jama'a hizbahu. Be aware that shaitan, know that shaitan collected his party, his army, wastajlaba khaylahu, and he called his cavalry, wa rijalahu, and his infantry, and charged over me. Wa inna ma'iya la basirati, but my basira was with me. I had my basira with me. Ma labbastu ala nafsi wa ma lubbistu alayya. I did not deceive myself, nor was I deceived. This is what basira does. It protects you from the attacks and charges of shaitan. Basira, it is what tells you who to befriend and who to take as your enemy. Basira tells you to figure out the affairs of this dunya from the affairs of the hereafter. अमूरे दुनिया कौन से हैं और अमूरे आखिरा कौन से हैं. Basira tells you how to prioritize your needs. And one of the beautiful statements, inshallah we'll talk about it tomorrow, one of the statements of a 6-line statement that the Holy Prophet taught Amirul Mu'mineen, he says, إِذَا رَأَيْتَ النَّاسِ يَشْتَغِلُونَ بِعُيُوبِ النَّاسِ. When you see people occupying themselves, finding the faults of people, اشتغل أنت بعيوب نفسك. You occupy yourself from finding your own faults. When people are busy finding faults in others, this is wrong with them and this is wrong with them, change your priority. Don't do that. You find faults within your own self. Don't go with the flow, unless that is right and they are on haqq. But majority is not always right. You follow majority only if it is haqq. In another statement he says, Absarun nas, the most basir, the most insightful of persons, who is he? مَن يَعْرِفَ عُيُوبَهُ, who knows his own faults. That is the most basir person. If you know your own faults, you will then make an effort to fix it and remove those. وَمَنْ أَقْلَعَ مِنْ ذُنُوبٍ, whoever uproots sins from his own being and self. So basira helps you align your efforts with what is eternal, not with what is temporal. What will stay forever and not those that will, not with things that will perish. It helps you find out those who are ahle dunya and those who are ahle akhirah. Harun, the Caliph Harun, once wrote a letter to Imam Kazim alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, why do you not visit us? Why do you not come and sit with us? You visit your friends, spend some time with us. The Imam responded back in writing. And this response is full of basira. He said, Laysa lana ma nakhafuka min ajli. We're not engaged in something that we should fear you. And therefore, maintain ties with you so that we are not the subject of your wrath. Laysa lana ma nakhafuka min ajli. We're not engaged in anything for which we should fear you. Wala indaka min amril akhirah ma narjuka lahu. And neither do you have anything of the akhirah that we should visit you hoping for that thing of the akhirah. Tumhare paas, you have nothing of the akhirah to offer us. And there is nothing with us that you should be afraid of. Wala indaka min amril akhirah, from the things of affairs of the akhirah, you have nothing for which we should come and hope for while meeting you. Wala anta fi ni'matin fanuhannik. Neither you are steeped in blessings of Allah so that we should come and congratulate you. This kingdom that you have, this is not something that we should come and congratulate you on. Wala naraha wala taraha niqmatan fanu'adhik. Neither do you see this as a retribution from Allah, so we could come and console you. इस नेमत को या इस अमारत को, इस खिलाफत को जो तेरे पास है, हम इसको नेमत नहीं देखते. तो नेमत में नहीं है कि हम आकर मुबारकबाद दें, और ना तो इसको अजाब देखता है कि हम आकर तुझे तस्लियत अर्ज करें, ताज़ियत अर्ज करें. This is what basira does you. This position of authority that you hold, this is the position of responsibility. You will be questioned for it. This is not neema, this is a responsibility. Then he responded back. He said, then come sit with me and advise me. At least advise me. These tyrants, they wanted to be in the good books of these people, these members of the Ahlul Bayt. Why? So that they could endorse their rule through their friendship. You will always see that the tyrants, because batil has no footing to stand on, in order to have a place in the hearts of the people, they have to deceive people by associating themselves with those personalities. And if somebody lacks basira, they will be deceived. They will look at both warring factions and they will say, well, there are companions in this party and there are companions on this side as well. And without basira, they will not be able to figure out who is right and who is wrong. So why don't come and advise me? And Imam responded, Man arada dunya la yansahuka. Who wants the dunya will not advise you. So if the ruler is running after the dunya, the advisors, if they are also running after the dunya, they will not advise their tyrant ruler to stop the tyranny and the zulm that they are doing. Man arada dunya la yansahuka, wa man arada al-akhirah la yasbahuka. And who desires the akhirah will not sit with you. They will not sit with you. They will not sit in your companionship. When this letter, so these are words of basira. And even someone like Harun, when he sits with the Imam, just like the virtue of the Quran, it will reduce him in his blindness. When he got this reply, he said, Wallahi, by Allah, laqad mayyaza indi manazil an-nas. This person has clarified for me the levels of the people. Man yuridu dunya mimman yuridu al-akhirah. I can now clearly see who is running after the dunya and who is running after the akhirah. And he is surely not one of those who is running after the dunya. Imams increase us in our basira. They increase us in our spiritual insight that helps us align our priorities right. What is more valuable, knowledge or wealth? One over the other or both? There's a story that in the time of the Holy Prophet, when the Prophet has announced this tradition, and ana madinatul ilm wa aliyun babuha, I am the city of knowledge and its gate is Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. So some of the companions wanted to test the level of knowledge. So they said, we are going to visit the Imam and ask him the same question every time. So they hired different people, and one after the other, they were supposed to come to the Imam and ask the very same question. Which one of the two is better, knowledge or wealth? Ilm behtar hai ya mal? Especially for the youth who are starting their careers. Basira means aligning yourselves with what is haqq, with what is right, having your priorities right. The Imam was in the masjid and the companions surrounded by the companions. A person walks in. He says, can I ask a question? The Imam said, yes. What is your question? What is better, knowledge or wealth? And why? The Imam responded, knowledge is better than wealth because knowledge guards you, whereas you have to protect wealth. He sat down. After a few moments, another person walks in with the very same question. What is better, knowledge or wealth? The Imam responded, knowledge is better than wealth because knowledge is the inheritance of the prophets, while wealth is the inheritance of people like Fir'aun and Qarun and Haman. Satisfied, he sat down. A few moments later, another person walks in. What is better, knowledge or wealth? The Imam responded, knowledge. Because a knowledgeable person has more friends and a wealthy person has more enemies. Hearing this, he sat down. A few moments later, another person comes. What is better, knowledge or wealth? Knowledge is better than wealth because a knowledgeable person is respected for his knowledge, while a wealthy person is accused of being a miser. Hearing this, he sat down. Another person comes in. What is better, knowledge or wealth? He said, knowledge. Why? Because by spending knowledge, it increases, whereas by spending wealth, it decreases. He sits down, another person comes in. What is better, knowledge or wealth? He says knowledge, because knowledge never gets old, whereas gold and silver gets old with time. Another person walks in. What is better, knowledge or wealth? He says knowledge is better because knowledge stays with you in this dunya as well as in the hereafter. Whereas wealth stays with you only till the grave. Hearing this, he sits down. One after the other, people kept on coming in, and he kept on responding with an answer that was different than the previous answer. Till a time comes that Amir al-Mu'minin says, if all of the people on the face of earth were to come to me with the same question, I would respond to them with a different answer than the answer I've given before. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. I would give a response to every person, a different response, the one that I have not given before. You want to test the knowledge of Amir al-Mu'minin, who has received all he has from the Holy Prophet. He is the student of the Holy Prophet. Any praise of Amir al-Mu'minin is actually a praise of the Holy Prophet. Because he is the source of everything. Every blessing, every virtue that the Imam has, the root is the Holy Prophet. He is the teacher. And that needs to be reflected upon. It is not that if we praise Amir al-Mu'minin in gatherings, we are raising him higher than the level of the Prophet. No, the Prophet is his teacher. The higher the student rises, the status of the teacher is higher than that. So knowledge or wealth. The tradition says knowledge is better than wealth. The merits of knowledge is better than the merits of wealth. So if you see two people, one acquiring knowledge and the other amassing wealth, which one of the two is better? One who's going after knowledge or one who's going after wealth? Which one is better? This is where basira is needed. It is not so simple to say the one who is running after knowledge. The tradition says, manhuman la yashba'an. There are two types of people whose greed will never be fulfilled. Talibu dunya wa talibu ilm. One who is going after dunya, he will not be satiated. And one who is running after wealth, his ilm, he will also not be satiated. But is the talib al-ilm better than talib al-dunya? You have to look at the intention behind what they are acquiring. If a person is acquiring ilm and knowledge to boast and be proud and debate with people and show his superiority over others, he is not seeking knowledge, he is seeking the dunya. And if a person is seeking wealth so that he can spend it in the way of Allah and through this wealth get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is seeking his akhirah. So you cannot just make a decision by looking at what they are running after. You have to ask yourself, why is it that he is seeking knowledge and why is it that he is seeking wealth? That is what will define who is superior than the other. This is where basira comes in. You don't look at the zahir. You have that inner sight to realize that true virtue will not come from looking at who is gathering what. It will come When you look for probable spouses for your children, it is one thing to look at who earns how much. What is their financial status? That is one way of looking at it. That is looking at the things with your basarat. If you have the basira, you will look at whether that earning is lawful or from a haram source. That is where basirat will come in. When people are engaged in looking at the uyubs and aibs of others, you, Amirul Mu'mineen, you look at your own faults. And there are 5 other statements, inshallah, we will look into those statements. So in order to get that basira, one of the prime things that is needed is to break our attachments with this dunya. And it has been requested to shed more light on this statement. How can we do that? What does it mean, breaking attachments? Does it mean not having this dunya? No. Do not judge a person by the level of assets he have. Judge them by how much attached and how connected he is to those assets. When you buy an expensive phone, an iPhone for example, you're attached to it. And the example, the evidence for that is when the first scratch appears on the screen. How do you feel when the first scratch on your new car? It hurts. And then there's a second scratch and then the third scratch. How do you feel at the 100th scratch? Doesn't matter now. Why? It's still a phone. You were using it before, you're still using it now. But because it has so many scratches now, it is no longer your dream phone. It is no longer your dream phone. You have disconnected and detached yourself from the phone, yet you are using it. Islam wants us to deal and engage with worldly commodities in the same manner right from day one. Right from day one. If the first scratch and the 100th scratch are alike, then you have detached yourself from worldly attachment. You might have all the belongings of the world, yet be detached from them. There's another story, a great story, and a short one, where a person comes to Amirul Mu'mineen Rassalatu Wassalam, Salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad, for help. The Imam listens to him, looks at his case, and he calls his treasurer, he says, give him 1,000. Give him 1,000. And the treasurer, not knowing whether to give him 1,000 gold coins or silver coins, he turns back to Amirul Mu'mineen and says, 1,000 dinar or dirham. Should I give him 1,000 dinars or should I give him 1,000 dirhams, gold coins or silver coins? In today's word, if you could give him 1,000, should I give him $1,000 or 1,000 rupees? The Imam responded, Kilahuma indi hajaran. Both of them before me are like stones. Give him whatever benefits him. Mere liye dono patthar hain. They're both alike. It doesn't matter to me. Give him whatever is more beneficial to him. This is basira. You have detached yourself from the dunya. It does not matter whether you are given the kingdom of Ray, or even if you're given the entire world, you will not be willing to stand with Yazid. Even if you're offered the kingdom and rule, you will accept it only if it is a tool to implement justice of Allah on the face of earth. When Amirul Mu'mineen was sitting and Salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad, and he was shoeing his slippers, a person comes in. The Imam asked him, how much is this worth? And he looked at it, and it was sewn from many different places. He says, it's worth nothing. No one will buy it. He says, this amarat, this rule that I have over you, is worth less than this slippers. ये इमारत इतनी कीमत भी नहीं है उसकी. But because this is a tool for the implementation of justice of Allah and the laws of Allah on the face of the earth, it is through this rule and this power that I will be able to take the right of the oppressed from the oppressor. That is why I am engaged in sitting in this position. Otherwise, it is worth nothing to me. Otherwise, it's worth nothing to me. This comes from basira and detaching yourselves from this dunya. So you can have everything and not be connected with it. That does not hurt. And it is possible that you might have a very little possession of this dunya, yet you might be so attached to it that you're not ready to let go of it. This would be one who is attached with the dunya despite having nothing to his possession, very little bank balance. But he is attached to whatever he has. So increasing our basira and using our basira to get to the destination means getting rid of these worldly attachments. And once we are attached to the world, our aql becomes a prisoner to our desire. In Nahjul Balagha, Imam has the statement, Kam min aqlin. How many of the intellects are there who are captives to their desires of humans? Our intellect, the torch of guidance, can become a captive to our desires. And when we lose basira and we only use our basarat, then we make all the mistakes. Then we fail to see truth from falsehood. And when you have that basira, then you have that noor, then you can even see things that are hidden from others. There's a verse of the Holy Quran which says, Inna fi dhalik la ayatin lil mutawassimin. Surely in that are signs for the mutawassimin. What is meant by mutawassimin? Those who can look at the clues and signs and can make a conclusion. जो इशारों को और साइंस को देखकर नतीजे तक पहुंच जाते हैं, ये ज़कावत रखते हैं. They have that intelligence which can be closer to basira. And when this verse is recited, the imams at times would recite another saying of the Holy Prophet, Ittaqu farasatal mu'min. Ittaqu farasatal mu'min. Beware of the intelligence of a mu'min. فَإِنَّهُ يَنْظُرُ بِنُورِ اللَّهِ. Because he sees with the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He sees with the noor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you're seeing with the noor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will not make a mistake. Because it is the noor of Allah that is guiding you. So sometimes you could see someone doing something and conclude what is going to happen to them. You see someone smoking a lot, you will say he will suffer from cancer. This is not ilm-e ghaib. This is looking at things and concluding. Another beautiful statement where Imam says, Man kasura kalamahu kasura khata'uhu. Whoever speaks a lot, his faults are more. जितना ज़्यादा बोलेंगे, उतनी खताएं ज़्यादा करेंगे. Man kasura kalamahu kasura khata'uhu. Man kasura khata'uhu, whose faults are more, qalla haya'uhu, his haya diminishes. Uski haya kam ho jayegi. We're making mistakes and then you'll not be able to say sorry. You will be okay with making mistakes and you will not be shy anymore. And then he says, وَمَنْ قَلَّ حَيَاؤُهُ قَلَّ وَرَعُهُ, whose haya diminishes, his wara diminishes. Wara means the ability and the effort to stay away even from doubtful things. And he says, وَمَنْ قَلَّ وَرَعُهُ مَاتَ الْقَلْبِ, whose wara diminishes, his heart dies. وَمَنْ مَاتَ الْقَلْبِ دَخَلَ النَّارِ, and whose heart dies, he enters the hellfire. So there's a sequence of events. There's a domino effect that happens. You do one thing, it leads to the other, it leads to the other. Eventually it leads to a person entering the hellfire. This is a person who looks at the clues and can make a conclusion. A person came to Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salatu was salam. And he said, there's something that is bothering me. And I need to ask you a question. The Imam said, well, if you wish, I can answer you before you spelling out your question. If you like, I can answer your question before you even asked it. Or if you wish, you can ask it and then I will answer. He said, how did you know about my question? He recited this verse, Inna fi dhalik la ayat lil mutawassimin. And then he said, the Holy Prophet has also said, Ittaqu farasat al mu'min, fa innahu yanzuru bi nurillah. A mu'min looks with the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so in that case, then answer my question. The Imam said, the question that is bothering you, and it's an interesting question. You must know that at the time of the conquest of Mecca, the Holy Prophet destroyed all of the idols in the Kaaba. The Holy Prophet destroyed them. There were certain idols that were placed near the roof of the Kaaba. It was at some height. And the Holy Prophet's height was not high enough that he would reach, so there was help that was needed. Amirul Mu'mineen tried to lift the Holy Prophet on his shoulders. He could not. And the Holy Prophet then lifted Amirul Mu'mineen, and Amirul Mu'mineen broke those idols. The Imam said to him, the question that you have is you are worried and you're not clear why this happened. Because on one side, you see and you have heard of the power and qudrat of Amirul Mu'mineen. He was able to tear down the door of Khaybar, which 40 people used to move, and hurl it away 40 feet away, such a heavy gate. Imam Ali was able to do that. And on the other side, you also see and know that the Holy Prophet used to ride on the donkeys and the horses. The horses and the donkeys were able to lift and carry the Holy Prophet. What happened on the day of Fatah Mecca? That Amirul Mu'mineen, who has more power than any of these animals, and this established power of lifting the door of Khaybar, yet he was not able to lift the Prophet on that day. Why is that? Now this is surely someone who is looking with his basarat and not with his basira. The Holy Prophet is lifting Amirul Mu'mineen, and in doing so, Amirul Mu'mineen is breaking the idols, not the Holy Prophet. So he's looking at Amirul Mu'mineen at a higher physical status or level than the Holy Prophet. Buland to Amirul Mu'mineen ho rahe hain yahan par. It is Amirul Mu'mineen. This is the question that he had with him. And Amirul Mu'mineen, the Imam responded with basira. And this is our response to all of the other sects of Islam who look at these majalises and learn and listen to the virtues of Amirul Mu'mineen and think that we have elevated Amirul Mu'mineen to a higher level. No. Despite all the virtues and all the knowledge and all the power that Amirul Mu'mineen had, he at the end says, Ana abdum min abid Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Says, I am one of the servants of the Holy Prophet. Apne aap ko unka abd manan rahe hain. He says, the Holy Prophet says, Ana adibullah wa aliyun adibi. मुझे खुदा ने अदब सिखाया है और अली को मैंने अदब सिखाया है. I have been done tarbiyah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Ali is the one whom I have trained. The more elevated, the more we elevate Amirul Mu'mineen, the Prophet who is his teacher will automatically be elevated. The Imam with Basira replied, Inna aliyan bi Rasulillah tasharrafa. On that day, Ali gained honor because of the Holy Prophet. Unko sharaf mila Rasul Khuda ki bina par. Wa bihi irtafa. And because of the Holy Prophet, he was elevated. It was the Holy Prophet who was elevating the Amirul Mu'mineen. وَبِهِ وَصَلَ إِلَىٰ أَنْ أَطْفَأَ نَارَ الشِّرْكِ. And it was the Holy Prophet who had elevated him to a station where he was able to extinguish the fire of shirk. وَأَبْطَلَ كُلَّ مَعْبُودٍ. And he was able to destroy every ma'bud and establish and invalidate them except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they say, do you not see that Amirul Mu'mineen on that day said, Allah tara, Amirul Mu'mineen on the shoulders of the Holy Prophet. He's proud of the position that he has, saying, Anna Aliyan qala, he said, Amirul Mu'mineen said on that day, Lamma alawtu zahra Rasulillah, when I was on the back of the Holy Prophet, shurriftu, I was honored, vartafatu, I was raised and elevated to the point that had I wished, I could have picked the stars from the sky. Allahumma. Had I wished, I had picked the stars from the sky. Who elevated Amirul Mu'mineen? Then the Imam says, had it been the other way around, then the Holy Prophet would have been elevated because of Amirul Mu'mineen. It would have been the Imam who was raising the Holy Prophet. Now it is the Holy Prophet who is raising the Imam. Whatever honor and virtue the Imam has, it is because of the Holy Prophet, and that is why it is because the Holy Prophet is more ba fazilat than the Imam. Had it been the other way, then the Imam would have become superior than the Prophet. The Prophet would have been able to do what he did because of Amirul Mu'mineen. But it is the other way around. So this person was looking at physical power and asked, why is it that Imam was not able to lift the Holy Prophet? The Imam was looking with basira. It is not a matter of physical power. It was the weight of Nabuwa that Imamat could not lift. It was the weight of Nabuwat that Imamat could not lift. That is why it had to be the other way around. Imamat and Nabuwat both rested with the Holy Prophet, and that such a person is able to lift the weight of Imamat. So if you look with your physical eyes, you will complain. But if you look with the eyes of Basirat, you will see Ali on the shoulders of the Holy Prophet. Ali being elevated because of the Holy Prophet. And if you look with the eyes of Basira, you will see the Holy Prophet elevated because of Allah. وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. We raised your zikr, Prophet of Allah. Allah raised the zikr of the Holy Prophet, and Prophet raised the zikr of Amirul Mu'mineen. So in this single image, this single scene, you have La ilaha illallah, raising Muhammadur Rasulullah, raising Aliyun Waliullah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. So if you hear more of the virtues of Amirul Mu'mineen, it is not because we consider them to be at a higher level than the Holy Prophet. No. Whatever virtues they have, the Holy Prophet is the source of all of them. They are the divinely appointed guides, the ones who have basira and the ones who are responsible to protect religion. Whenever religion would be in danger, it would be their responsibility to step forward. No one else could have saved Islam in Karbala. It was the blood of Imam Hussein that had to be spilled. It was his blood. The Imam had realized that Islam is in danger. And in order to survive, it is in need of blood. And not any blood. Blood which is as sacred as the blood of Islam. Blood whose blood group matches the blood group of Islam. It was his blood that was going to save Islam. And he stepped forward to do that. Yes, there were other companions who shed their blood as well. But it was the blood of Imam Hussein that saved Islam. And that is why, till the day of judgment, Islam and Hussein cannot be separated. In the plains of Karbala, he set it up in such a way that he did not spill his blood on the plains of Karbala, rather he transfused his blood in the veins of Islam. His blood is now running in the veins of Islam. Agar aaj Islam zinda hai, to Hussein ki wajah se. That is why you sense and feel the fragrance of Islam and Hussein together. Because it is the blood of Hussein that is gushing in the veins of Islam. But there were others that were supposed to be there to have that impact. His family members, all there with Basira, ready to sacrifice their lives for the Imam with Basira, with understanding, knowing what they are doing. That is why you see them expressing words of loyalty on the night of Ashura. The first amongst all to express their loyalty was Janab Abbas alayhi salatu wassalam. The first one to stand up. How can we leave you? Then others followed him with other statements. And statements that you will not find the likes of which elsewhere. And while others were expressing their statements and their readiness and showing their basira, one of the lads of the family of the Holy Prophet, looking at the distance and hearing all of what was going on, steps up and asks the Imam, "O my Imam, will I be among those who will be killed tomorrow? Kya mera naam bhi kal ke shuhada mein hai?" The Imam knew his name was there. But just to make sure that everybody understands why Qasim is asking this question, and that he's asking this question out of basira, he did not respond immediately by saying yes. He says, "Qasim, kaifal maut indak?" Qasim, how do you find maut? How do you find death? And the response was not that similar to honey. He says, "Ahla min al-asal." It is sweeter than honey. Sweet, you need basira to respond like that. I find death sweeter than honey. Then he repeats his question, "Oh Imam, is my name among the list of those who will be martyred tomorrow?" The Imam responds, "Qasim, you're asking about yourself. Even Ali Asghar will be martyred." The companions were terrified. They started to cry. There was crying and shouting and weeping and screaming. How would that happen? Would the ashkiya enter the tents? The Imam did not disclose that part. That was a musibah for Janab Sayyidus Sajjad to tolerate and bear. He did not burden his companions with that musibah. He said, "Ali Asghar will not be martyred like that. I will take him in my hands in the battlefield. This is how Ali Asghar will be martyred." But before us answering Janab Qasim, there's a statement of the night of Ashura where Imam says, "Ba'da an tubla bi bala'in azim." You will be martyred, which if it translated in this manner would mean if you will be martyred, but after an azim and great trial. After a big trial you will be martyred. What was that trial? It is not mentioned, but we know that on the day of Ashur, according to some traditions, after Ali Akbar, the next one to go to the battlefield was Janab Qasim. Imam Hussein's family is taking lead over other members of the family. After Ali Akbar, the closest to Imam Hussein, the next in line is Janab Qasim. He comes to the Imam, seeks permission. The Imam resisted. The Imam declined. The tradition says that Janab Qasim started to kiss the hands of his uncle. Oh, my uncle, grant me permission to go to the battlefield. But the Imam resisted for a moment till eventually the Imam gave in. And at that time, the tradition says that the Imam hugged Janab Qasim and both of them cried for a long time. They cried for a long time. Then this boy was so young that there was no armor that would fit him. So without any armor, he went towards the battlefield, walking in a manner where his sword was making a line marking his road to martyrdom. He went to the battlefield with tears in his eyes. One of the enemy soldiers looked at him. He said, "Warriors, don't cry in the battlefield." He said, "I'm not crying for myself or what will happen to me. I am crying for my Imam is all alone as a hostage amongst you." Then he introduced himself, "In tunkeruni fana ibnul Hasan." If you do not know me, then know I am the son of Hassan. Sibtun Nabi al-Mustafa al-Mu'taman. Hassan, who is the grandson of the Holy Prophet, the trusted Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he turned to Hussein, pointing to Hussein. He said, "Hazal Hussein kal asir al murtahan." And this is Hussein, who is taken as a hostage amongst all of you who are not worthy of Allah's mercy. ये हुसैन है जो तुम्हारे दरमियान असीर है इस हालत पे कि तुम वो हो जो खुदा की मर्सी के मुस्तहक नहीं हो. Hamid ibn Muslim says he's in the camp of Yazid, and the historian, he says, "I saw a young lad leave the camp of Imam Hussein, a glittering face. A young lad, he was so small that one of the warriors next to me said to me, 'I'm going to kill him.' And I said to him, 'He's only a young child. Those who have surrounded him in the battlefield, they are sufficient for him. Why do you burden yourself with this task?' But it seems that those who had surrounded him were not enough. Qasim, despite his tender age, he killed all of them. He killed 35 of the enemy soldiers, till this person, Amr ibn Sa'd Azdi, he steps forward and is charged at this young family member of the Imam. There was a fierce battle that took place, and eventually he struck Janab Qasim with the fierce blow which split open the head of Qasim alayhi salam. Janab Qasim falls to the ground, facing head down, his face down. As he falls, he calls his Imam, "Ya Amma adrikni," "Oh my uncle, please come to my rescue." Again, Hamid writes that Imam Hussein dives and rushes towards Janab Qasim just like an eagle would dive at its prey. जिस तरह एक ईगल एक चील अपने शिकार पे डाइव करती है, and just like an eagle dives at its prey, Imam Hussein dived at and came towards Janab Qasim, trying to help him. Why? Because Amr ibn Sa'd was trying to behead Amr Sa'd Azdi was trying to behead Janab Qasim. Imam rushed, tearing the ranks, eventually reached there in time, and with one blow, Imam chops off the hand of Amr Sa'd Azdi. His hand is severed from his body. He screamed in agony and pain, calling for help. All of his comrades converged to save him, and as a result, the horses trampled over the bodies.
Amr Saad Azdi was trampled by the hoofs of the horses, and most likely so was Qasim. There was chaos everywhere, and when the dust settled, people saw Imam sitting next to the body of Qasim, holding Qasim in his laps, looking at Qasim. Maybe this was the Balaya Azim that Qasim was to be tested with. He got his body trampled while he was still alive. And in order to maintain faith in this situation where your body is being trampled and you have no regrets over what you have done, this is the Azim trial that Janab Qasim had to go through. It was very difficult for Imam Hussain. He sits next to Janab Qasim and he says, Azza Wallahi, it is very hard on me, O Qasim, that you call your uncle for help. And your uncle cannot answer your call, or your uncle answers your call, but is not able to help you. And if he's able to help you, it does not save you. Then the Imam recited one sentence of his musibah. He said, Wallah, by Allah, today is the day where your uncle's grief is much and his helpers are very few. ये वो दिन है कि तेरे चचा का गम बहुत है और उसके मददगार कम है. मैं कहूँगा, ओ इमाम, this is the second one of the family members who has offered his sacrifice. अभी जनाब अली अकबर की शहादत हुई है, अब जनाब कासिम की. अभी से ये जुमले कह रहे हैं कि मेरे नासिर कम हो चुके हैं. अला लानतुल्लाहि अलल कौमिज़्ज़ालिमीन. ये भी वो जुमला है जो इमाम ने कहा ओदन लिक़ौमिन क़तलूक. कासिम, खुदा की रहमत से दूर हो वो कौम जिन्होंने तुझे कत्ल किया. अला लानतुल्लाहि अलल कौमिज़्ज़ालिमीन. Let us send our salams to our imam in this state, him holding the trampled body of Janab Qasim in his lap. As-salamu ala al-Husayn wa ala Ali ibn al-Husayn wa ala awlad al-Husayn wa ala ashab al-Husayn. Matam Husayn.
Calling is Al-Hussein from Ard Karbala. Hayya ala-salah, hayya ala-al-falah. Calling is Al-Hussein from Ard Karbala. Hayya ala-salah, hayya ala-al-falah. Calling is Al-Hussein from Ard Karbala. Hayya ala-salah, hayya ala-al-falah. Iyaka na'budu, Iyaka nasta'in.
On God is our tawakkul, in Him is our yaqeen.
Witness the sacrifice of Nafs-e Mutmain, him and his holy kin. Mistaq-e Hal-Ata, calling is Al-Hussein from Ard-e Karbala. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Enjoy in every good, discourage every wrong.
With the khulq and the wisdom of the Holy Quran.
This is the noble path of Ibn Fatima, lion of Murtada, Warith of Anbiya. Calling is Al-Hussein from Ard-e Karbala. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Witness the head recite Al-Kahf wa Aqib,
prophesying the future, a mu'jiza azim.
Some centuries ahead we'll see the Fatah Deen at every Arba'in in Dasht Nineveh. Calling is Al-Hussein from Ard-e Karbala. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. How do you find death? Tell me, Qasim Pisser.
Sweeter than honey unto ahla min al-asal.
O Warith of Hassan, O grandson of Ali, you will tomorrow be martyred in Karbala. Calling is Al-Hussein from Ard-e Karbala. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Can we go to Najaf, to Majadbu Turab?
Said Sakina in anguish to her mother Rubab.
Oh, the light of my eyes, Mola sends his salam on you, Kufa to Sham. This is our ibtila. Calling is Al-Hussein from Ard-e Karbala. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Qad qamat as-salah for Zohr-e Karbala. 'Tis your namaz-e-akhir, my loyal awliya. Our sajdas and ruku, our blood and our khushu will nurture this zameen into khak-e shifa. Calling is Al-Hussein from Ard-e Karbala. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. He is the one who knows Allah is Al-Alim. He is the best of planners, Allah is Al-Hakim. To Him is our return, His worship our peak. He is the one we seek. This Laylatul Bala, calling is Al-Hussein from Ard Karbala. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah. Calling is Al-Hussein from Ard Karbala. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Salli ala